Maduro, representatives from the embassy in Japan and Korea and also Sri Lanka, my colleagues at ICCROM, the members of the ICCROM Council. I welcome all of you tonight to this very festive occasion. And let me first take the opportunity to apologize to you for not organizing the weather in a better way. So I do apologize for that, but I think nevertheless it's a festive occasion that we are celebrating this evening. The ICCROM Award is given to an individual who has contributed significantly to ICCROM's development and or has had a special merit in the field of conservation, protection, and restoration of cultural heritage. Nominations for this award may come from current members of the ICCROM Council, it may come from current staff of ICCROM, or in a recent development, it may also be nominations may be made by the general public. And this year, in fact, the winner was nominated by members of the public. But no matter who makes the initial nomination, it must be seconded by a member of the council, and then the ICCROM Council as a whole takes a final decision as to the recipient of the award. There is traditionally one winner of the award each biennium, although occasionally there may be exceptions, and that, for example, was the case in the previous biennium. The ICCROM Award was granted for the first time in 1979, and over its lifetime it has been awarded to 51 people. Just to name a few, they include really important names in the field of conservation, such as Cesare Brandi, Raymond Lemaire, Paul Philippot, Yuka Yokileto, Gael de Gouchain, Munir Bushnaki, Herb Stovall, and most recently, last year, to Grelin Rourke and to Khaled Al-Assad. And as I said, that was a situation where there were two that were nominated at the same time, or that received the award at the same time. Tonight, we are here to present the 52nd ICCROM Award. Unfortunately, due to the COVID pandemic, we've had to make a change in the way that we usually make this award and how it is presented. Usually, it is presented at the ICCROM General Assembly, but this year, due to the fact that the General Assembly is online, it was agreed that we would hold the ceremony the evening before the GA, and that a video would then be presented to the General Assembly tomorrow. And so you will notice that this ceremony is being videotaped at this point. Now, I am particularly pleased because this award this year is going to a really good friend of mine and a former colleague, Mr. Gamini Wijesuriya. His nomination was submitted by Maya Ishizawa from Japan and Kyung-hee Lim from Korea. And it is for this reason that we have invited His Excellency, the Honorable Ambassador of Japan, Mr. Hiroshi Oe, and Ms. Soyeon Park, the counselor from the Embassy of the Republic of Korea, to represent the two nominators who came, as I said, from the general public. We would also like to welcome Mr. Sisira Seravirana, I hope I pronounced that okay, the Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of Sri Lanka here in Rome. So at this point in time, what I would like to do is give the floor to the President of the ICCROM Council, who is Mr. Oliver Martin, and he will read the Laudatio for Mr. Wijesuriya. So I give the floor to Mr. Martin. Thank you.
This desk is made not for long and thin people like me. Well, dear Gamini, Excellence, dear representatives from the Embassy, dear colleagues and friends. It's with great pleasure that on behalf of ICCROM, we have the honor of introducing the winner of the 2021 ICCROM Award, Gamini Wijesuriya. And he is, as we all know now, a Sri Lankan national. It's a former ICCROM staff member, a former ICCROM council member, and current special advisor to the ICCROM Director General. This ICCROM Award, as Joe just said, is a recognition of the big contribution that Gamini has made to ICCROM and the conservation of cultural heritage in Sri Lanka and internationally. An architect and an archaeologist, Gamini has dedicated his entire career to the conservation of monuments and sites around the world. His diverse experience includes roles as Director of Conservation for the government of Sri Lanka, Principal Regional Scientist of the Department of Conservation in New Zealand, and Project Manager of ICCROM. ICCROM, as a capacity building organization, has immensely benefited from his work as he dedicated his attention, energy, and his best to the training and capacity building of heritage practitioners globally. For over 20 years of his long career, he has mentored generations of heritage leaders, benefiting nearly 1,000 heritage practitioners from over 100 countries worldwide. Gamini has left a mark in many people's lives as the key person who has influenced the way we think and practice heritage. But it wasn't only in capacity building that Gamini has contributed to. ICCROM is an international organization, and to be truly relevant and grounded, we must base our work on acting locally and keeping aligned to the realities and practices of all the different regions. Gamini has been the gateway of ensuring that diverse heritage conservation approaches, perspectives, practices and applications from Asia and beyond could be collected, studied, promoted worldwide. His involvement with ICCROM started as a government delegate to the General Assembly in 1984, where he was also elected as a vice president. He later participated in the course on wood conservation technology held in 1988 in Norway, and he has been then a member of the ICCROM Council 91 and 92, and worked for ICCROM as a consultant from 91 to 94, prior to becoming an ICCROM staff member in 2004 until his retirement in 2017. And during his time at ICCROM, he played a leading role in developing ICCROM's innovative research and training programs of living heritage, people-centered approaches to conservation of nature and culture, and nature-cultural linkages, bringing the role of local communities in conserving heritage to the forefront. Furthermore, he coordinated and directed the flagship ICCROM course on conservation of built heritage, expanding its scope from buildings to cities and landscape. His emphasis on people-centered approaches, which was a very early trend put in place by Gamini at that time, to the conservation of both nature and culture, has gained standing worldwide. His significant work on the living cultural heritage of Asia has influenced international heritage practice. His continuous dedication to capacity building within the work of ICCROM has been the basis of nurturing many new heritage professionals from all over the world. Gamini has also played a great role in expanding the scope of practitioners to be engaged in the work of heritage conservation, constantly practicing the people-centered approach to heritage conservation. His work on linking nature, culture, people has been very important in crystallizing the relationship between heritage conservation and the sustainable development agenda. His contribution to ICCROM is far and wide, pinning down the capacity building function of ICCROM in serving its member states. His role as ICCROM staff included support and cooperation in design and development, coordination and teaching of a variety of ICCROM training programs held in partnership with member states and their national institutions, such as the wood courses held in partnership with Norway, the annual courses on conservation of wooden structures and archaeological sites with ACCU Nara in Japan, the courses on management planning and heritage impact assessment with WITRAP in China, and also the management of monitoring in China. Gamini acted as the deputy coordinator of World Heritage activities, performing ICCROM's advisory role to the convention, and played a key role in developing and implementing the World Heritage capacity building strategy, supporting a breakthrough in addressing all audiences, and that is policy and decision makers, practitioners, communities and networks, connecting natural and cultural heritage practitioners, which has developed into a flagship program of ICCROM and IUCN, named today World Heritage Leadership Program. Gamini organized and implemented also a variety of capacity building courses related to the World Heritage at a global scale and strengthened ICCROM partnerships, especially in Asian countries, with organizations like ICCROM, at the University of Tsukuba and Vitra. He also led the forum co-organized by ICCROM and Korea. These thematic meetings contributed to the understanding and debates of Asian cultural heritage and led to ICCROM publications which enabled knowledge sharing globally. Gamini has represented ICCROM in international events and conferences and was ICCROM delegate to the World Heritage Committee sessions annually from 2004 to 2017. And I was wondering if he was every time there or did he skip one single meeting once in between. In his role, he undertook a number of reactive monitoring and advisory training missions supporting more than 50 ICCROM member states in their strategies for monitoring World Heritage properties and advancing capacity building at national and regional levels. He was a lead author for the ICCROM-sponsored resource manual on managing World Heritage and contributed to resource manuals on World Heritage nomination, managing natural heritage and disaster risk management published by UNESCO. These are all the great and well-known titles for those amongst us who are dealing with World Heritage today. He provided tools developed in the context of ICCROM's work to heritage practitioners all around the world. And Gamini graduated with a bachelor and a master's degree in architecture from the University of Moratuwa. And while maintaining his professional practice, he specialized in historical preservation at Carnegie Mellon University and archaeology heritage management at New York University before obtaining a PhD from the University of Leiden in 1998. He held the role of head of conservation of the Department of Archaeology in Sri Lanka for 18 years, during which time he was responsible for leading the National Heritage Conservation Program. Reading this career of Gamini makes clear to us all the truly global impact Gamini already not only has afterwards with his work, but already during its career and its education. Through his role, he contributed significantly to the conservation of monuments spanning multiple periods, materials within archaeological and urban settings, including also 6 World Heritage sites. Gamini was involved in the implementation of the World Heritage Convention for 40 years and in very diverse perspectives and roles. It started as early as 1981 as a key player of the State Party, and he was involved in preparing the first tentative list of Sri Lanka and supported the nomination process for their first properties inscribed in the World Heritage List. As a founding member of ICCOMOS Sri Lanka, he had held several positions, including serving as a member of the International Executive Committee and several scientific committees, as well as carrying out several evaluation and monitoring missions for ICCOMOS, particularly in Laos, in India and Pakistan, and in the organization of the World Archaeological Congress since 1994. Since his retirement from ICCROM, don't believe that Gamini stopped working and engaging for cultural heritage. He has continued to contribute towards heritage protection through national and international roles. He is currently serving as a special advisor to the Director General of ICCROM and a special advisor to the Director of WITRAP Shanghai. He also continues to collaborate in a diversity of capacity building initiatives, as well as with UNESCO in both tangible and intangible cultural heritage programs. He was appointed as an honorary senior lecturer at Institute of Archaeology, University College London, and to the advisory body of the Department of Archaeology of Sri Lanka. He has continued to lead international projects, recently completing also a consultancy role for the National Trust of the United Kingdom. Of course, during all his career, Gamini has also published as well many contributions covering philosophical, technical, and management aspects of conservation. And I'm personally really happy that this year's ICCROM Award goes to our dear friend Gamini, and congratulations on behalf of Council and ICCROM.
Thank you, Oliver. it actually takes my breath away, all of that. It's when you put it all together into one. I've known Gamini for, I don't even know how many years, 20 years I guess now, 25 years now, but when you put all of that together in one piece of paper, it's really an incredible thing to see. So, so thank you, Oliver, for reading that. And at this point, I would like to first call on the president of the 32nd session of the General Assembly of ICCROM, Patricia Kell, also a council member, to present the award to Gamini. So I'll ask her to come first. And then I will ask Gamini Wijesuriya to please come forward and receive your award.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you take that marker? Sure.
Together. Let's hold together. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Stay here, don't go anywhere. So I would like to, before I give the floor to Gamini to speak, I would like to just point out that the statue itself is a design of a very famous sculptor, Peter Rockwell, who is a famous sculptor in his own right and happened to be the husband of a staff member here at ICCROM, Cynthia Rockwell. She worked with us for many years. So he agreed to design that statue for us. So without further ado, it really gives me an incredible amount of pleasure to introduce my friend and my colleague, Gamini Wijesuriya.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening. Madam Patricia Kell, Chair of the 32nd ICCROM General Assembly. Mr. Oliver Martin, thank you for that wonderful statement. Chair of the ICCROM Council, Madam Michaela Hansen, Vice Chair of the Council, Mr. John Robbins, Vice Chair of the Council, Dr. Vivian Doro, my colleague, Director General of ICCROM, Mr. Sisira Seneviratne, Charge the Affairs of Embassy of Sri Lanka to Italy, your ambassadors, excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and pride that I accept the ICCROM Award at the 32nd General Assembly of ICCROM in Rome. Thank you, Oliver, and all of the members of the Council for the honor you place on me today and for the recognition of my service to ICCROM and the field of heritage. Thank you, Director General and staff of ICCROM for organizing this wonderful event under the circumstances. Indeed, my thoughts as I accept this award go to my mentor and guru, late Dr. Roland Silva, wishing he was here with us to share this important moment, and not for me as an individual, but on behalf of our country, Sri Lanka, but also the heritage voices of Asia as a whole and of other regions of the world that for too long went unheard in many international arenas, which he tried to bring out. Immediately after graduating in architecture, I ventured, as you heard, towards the field of heritage conservation and there onwards have devoted myself wholly to the cause. The first 2 decades of my professional life was shaped and consolidated in Sri Lanka when she was a key player in the world of conservation. It was with this background and foundation I started my career at ICCROM, where I had the opportunity to practice, research and develop all aspects of conservation with many great minds. In 2005, during the discussion to restart the new version of the famous art course, the role of communities was a point of debate. 2 seniors raised the following questions. How can the community look after heritage? And what will happen to the experts if community is entrusted with the task? Indeed, now it is truly heartening to look back and see that we have sufficiently overcome doubts of this nature by placing communities at the very heart of the heritage discourse. It has proved a springboard not just for working towards greater alignment with the nature sector, but also in the understanding of heritage as dynamic places that are part of a greater whole, society and environment. And how engaging with this greater whole is the key to improving heritage and heritage management. Now the sector is constantly moving forward with the continual expansion of the people-centered approach in ICCROM programs and beyond. It is with some pride that I see the real relevance of our work. I won't keep you much longer, but please allow me to follow these reflections on the past with some gratitude towards ICCROM and its partners, the amazing people with whom I have worked and to whom I and the conservation sector as a whole owe so much. I can't mention all, but let me mention some. Dr. Nicholas Stanley Price deserves the most gratitude for opening the door to ICCROM and integrating the first Asian to the truly international team of ICCROM's then science unit, covering 4 regions of the world: Joseph King from USA, Webe Ndoro from Zimbabwe, Valerie Maga from Mexico. Thank you, Nicholas. 2 Director Generals succeeding Dr. Stanley Price, Dr. Munia Bushnaki and Dr. Stefano Di Caro for consolidating support for the work we were pushing forward. Thank you to both. My very special gratitude to Joseph King, Joe, with whom, as you heard, I spent all my time at ICCROM for his support, our shared vision, shared passion for world heritage and collective achievements. Martin, for your information. Oliver, for your information. There was one committee meeting where we sat 84 hours in the meeting in 7 days. That's the life we had. Thank you, Joe. Yeah. My former colleagues, Doro and Valerie, for making up a special team that transformed many things at ICCROM during our time and afterwards. Thank you very much. Catherine Antomaki, you created a turning point by inviting me and my colleague at that time, Doro, to contribute to the history and theory session of your course and supporting our programs. Thank you, Catherine and the team that were in the 3rd floor. Jane Thompson, I must mention, for her long-standing collaboration with us. You deserve a huge credit for our collective achievements. A big thank to you. The Younger Men team, led by Eugene, and collaborators Sarah and Maya, for pushing these approaches forward with such conviction, deserves a special appreciation. Thank you. Elena, who is not here, you are the strength of our work at the fourth floor. With you and Sonia, Elisa, Anna support, the fourth floor achieved a lot. My acknowledgement will be incomplete without mentioning the names of Pilar, Jennifer, Mauricio, Giuseppe, Daniela, Maria, Roberto, Robert, Paul, and all of their teams for their support. Thank you all. And of course, special gratitude to all those who were involved in presenting my nominations to the council. I must also look beyond ICCROM to close my tributes. My colleagues in Sri Lanka in the Department of Archaeology and in the Central Cultural Fund, colleagues at the Department of Conservation of New Zealand, where I was exposed to the nature conservation. And my journey was not possible if not for my wife, Mala, who supported me in every step of my journey, and Hasini and Pasan, who are here. My two children, always supportive and appreciative of heritage agenda, even, of course, if I was away from them many times. It was a real thing. My bigger family, 4 brothers and 4 sisters, 30 nieces and nephews, 38 nieces and nephews, grandnieces and nephews, from a remote village called Assaduma in Sri Lanka, was always there to support and encourage me. I am very proud of them. I would like to close with a final thank you, or perhaps more of a dedication. I would like to dedicate this award to the extraordinary human capital that makes up our heritage community. In my time at ICCROM, I had the privilege of working with colleagues, connecting with over 1,000 course participants, with superb interns, with fellows, course assistants, and resource persons, with colleagues all over the world at the World Heritage Center, ICOMOS, IUCN, colleagues at Bunkacho, Agency for Cultural Affairs, SPAPA in Thailand, SCCU Nara in Japan, Tsukuba University, Japan, Mitra China, SARCH, CASH China, Cultural Heritage Administration, Korea, AWHF, Africa, to name a few. Thank you all. The privilege of ending nearly every working day with new insights, new stimuli. You all played a key part in bringing me here today to receive this award, and I would like to share and dedicate this to all of you and all my colleagues in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gamini, for that very touching and emotional speech. I can't help but think that I can't help but think that Roland Silva would be very pleased and very happy that you'd be getting this award today, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be able to present it to you and to be able to say to you that the importance I know that Roland played in your life, I think, is something very important, and I'm glad that you mentioned him, and I'm also glad that you mentioned your lovely wife, Mama, because I know she's suffered tremendously with all of your trips around the world and those sorts of things. But we're really, really happy to have been able to give you this award tonight. It's time basically to close at this point in time, but I know. But what I want to do is I want to take about the next 5 minutes, if possible. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to take a series of sort of official photographs. So I would like to ask His Excellency the Ambassador from Japan, the representatives of the Embassy from Sri Lanka and from Korea, the Director General and the President of the Council, etc., to just sort of stay around in this area, because we would like to take a series of official photographs at this point in time, and then following that, it will be time for our dinner. But again, let me just in closing thank all of you for being here again tonight on what is not such a, ultimately in terms of the weather, a nice night, but it's we're really happy that you were able to make it and to celebrate with us. Gamini, we're sorry that we couldn't do this at the General Assembly in front of 150 delegates. But in some ways, this is a more intimate gathering, and maybe that's also has its charm. So once again, I'd like to ask you all one last time for a round of applause for